A show of culture as the Chonyi community in Kilifi County gathered to commemorate Utamaduni Day. The elders, donned in traditional regalia, did not shy away from putting their best foot forward as they danced to traditional songs. They expressed concerns over the waning traditional practices among the youth and the young generation. They called on the community to use the day to educate the younger generation on tradition, prepare and cook traditional dishes, and also have medicinal value as well as learn the local dialect to preserve the culture that is at a risk owing to westernization.
Sasa vijana wa leo, kwa kuwa utamaduni wengine wanataka, wengine hawataki kufundishwa utamaduni. Na hii ni elimu ya wazee wa zamani ambao ni mababu, lakini watoto sasa wameshaharibika.
Sasa ukipikiwa ule ugali umesagwa na lwalwa na mtsunga, maji ni ya kisima, tunachota kule kwenye kisima ama kwenye benes tunakunywa. Kama ni mboga ni kuku amepikwa, anapikwa vizuri, anaekwa nazi. Na tomato ambazo tulikuwa tukitumia zilikuwa ni zile tomato ndogo. Hata saa hii wakati wale wazee wetu waliokuwa wakikula vile vyakula vile, tukiwaangalia hawa hawawezi kushikwa na madhara kwa hovyo hovyo. Lakini siku hizo wao wanakula ma blue band, sijui ma yogurt na vitu vingine, hizi jam. Unaona wamejaza matumbo mili hii, mpaka ukimwona mara ameshikwa na pressure, sukari, akienda hospitali hivi mara moja unamwona amepita, ametwacha.
And away from the celebrations, 2 artisanal miners lost their lives in what is suspected to have been due to suffocation. The bodies were retrieved from a 150-feet deep gold mine in Masiyenze village, Ikolomani constituency, and taken to the Kakamega County General Teaching and Referral Hospital for autopsy.
Tunataka pia wakuwe na mafunzo ya kutosha ili wakiingia kwa mashimo zetu za kutafuta gold, wasiwe wanaingia bila kuwa na uzoefu na pia utaalamu unaohitajika kujua hali yao ya safety.
Vijana wale mnafanya hiyo mining, whether mko chini ya wawekezaji wale investors ama mko peke yenu, tulieni kidogo, wacha mzimu wa mvua iende, alafu hapo nyuma, hapo mbele karibu Disemba muanzishe tena hii mkakati ya kufanya mining.
Mombasa leaders affiliated to the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition have declared their unanimous support for Raila Odinga as their preferred presidential candidate for the 2027 presidential election. The leaders, led by the county governor Abdul Swamad Nasir, were speaking during the official launch of the distribution of revision materials to all public schools in Mombasa County.
Coast leaders affiliated to the opposition say they will support Raila Odinga for presidency in the next election if he is on the ballot.
Lakini sisi tunasema Mungu akikupatia uhai na uzima, sisi hatujui story nyingine, you will be on the ballot. This is something ile ambayo tumekubaliana kama viongozi na tumekaa chini, na our declaration is for the purposes of the future generations. This country needs the leadership of the presidency of Raila Amolo Odinga.
Additionally, the leaders revisited the conversation on the privatization of the port, cautioning if approved it will lead to loss of employment for the youth in the county.
Hatupingi mambo ya upanuaji wa bandari, lakini tunapinga kutoweza kuwekwa katika hesabu, kwa sababu tusipowekwa katika hesabu sasa, baada ya kalamu ishaweza kukauka, wino kushaweza kukauka katika ile karatasi. Sahauni watu wa Mombasa.
Similar sentiments were echoed by Mvita MP Mohamed Sud and his Kisauni counterpart Rashid Bedzimba.
Ni muwe imara, tusimame pamoja, tunakataa kubinafsisha bandari kwa sababu bandari haileti hasara, bandari inaleta faida.
Mimi nitaomba Prime Minister wetu Raila Odinga, simama na viongozi wa Mombasa, tuhakikishe ili jimbo letu la Mombasa rasilimali yetu haiendi mali kokote.
Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition leader Raila Odinga, who remained mum over his plans for the 2027 presidential election, however called for proper consultations between the national government and county government of Mombasa and private investors if the operations of the port were to change hands.
Tunasema ni lazima mambo haya yawekwe kwa njia ya uwazi, sio mambo ya kichini chini ya kisiri siri. Mazungumzo yawe mazungumzo ya wazi. Na wakati kama kaa pale, serikali kuu hako pale, labda waziri wa mambo ya mawasiliano wako pale, na governor wa Mombasa hako hapa, na wale wageni ambao wanataka kuja wako hapa. Wakati chini waongee nijulikane Mombasa itapata kiasi gani katika hiyo kampuni ambayo itaendesha mambo ya bandari.
From Mombasa County, I am Anburu.
Still at the coast, 3 in 10 residents of Kilifi County have been victims of gender-based violence. Kilifi County Chief Officer for Gender, Culture and Social Services, Agneta Karembo, says the most rampant forms of the vice in the area are radicalization, stigmatization and spouse battering. To address the issue, Karembo says the county government of Kilifi is setting up a gender-based violence rescue center that will act as a safe house for victims. She rallied residents to abandon some archaic traditional cultures.
Gender-based violence needs a lot of investment for us to address it. But we have been facing challenges because it is the first budget that will be cut anytime we submit.
County will have the first rescue center where our women and girls who are violated can be secured.
Moving on, over 600 porters in Embu County can now access government services and employment opportunities after they were issued with national identification cards. This follows a move by the county commissioner and local leaders to engage a registrar of persons to fast-track the process of issuance of the document. The porters say lack of the document has often seen them have run-ins with the police owing to lack of the crucial identification document. Additionally, they now have an opportunity to organize themselves into registered self-help groups that will, among others, benefits enable them to be self-reliant.
Tumewagawanya katika vikundi kulingana na shida zao za vitambulisho. Kuna wale walikuwa wamepoteza vitambulisho, na kuna wale hawana kitambulisho kabisa, na kuna wale pengine wazazi wao hawako kwa sababu wameishi katika mitaa ya Embu Town kwa muda mrefu.
Tunasikia saa hii kwa serikali hakuna maendeleo bila kikundi, na huwezi kopesha ukuwe individual. Manake ukiangalia watu kama wabebas, si watu wako na matitles, wako na logbook. Hawa ni watu wa kutegemea bega zao, na tukiwa pamoja, kuna kama hii Hasra Fund ya group, tutaweza kukopeshwa.
In other news, parents and guardians should regulate the time spent on learners on social media platforms to contain the declining reading and writing culture. This emerged during the Kedeka Prize for Africa Literature 2023 awards ceremony held in Thika, where authors drawn from East and Central Africa called on parents, guardians, learners and tutors to join hands in ensuring that technology is leveraged to positively promote a reading and writing culture among Kenyans.
We are nurturing writers, and so far, I believe in the next maybe 5 years, our writers and those in other prices like Keneka are the ones who will be reigning in Africa and also in the world.
I urge everyone to tell a story, to write. We will get that story edited, prepared for publication, and therefore published.
In Tharaka Nithi County have expressed concerns over rising cases of boys in the area dropping out of school either due to drug abuse or being hired to do casual jobs. This has prompted the leaders to roll out a door-to-door campaign to fish out school-age learners who have dropped out of school. The leaders, led by Tharaka Nithi Governor Njue, are urging parents to play a role by ensuring their children attend school.
Kuna vijana wengi sana huko Gishagi ambao wamekataa kusoma. Watu wanaenda kibarua ya kuchunga ng'ombe, kibarua ya kufanya nini, wataki kwenda shule. Madam ametuambia ati kuna kijana anasema yeye analipwa 200 kwa kushinda kwa shamba ya watu kulima, lakini akienda shule hapati kitu. You must invest now. Lazima ukubali saa hii uende shule, ndio baadaye badala ya kupata 20,000 upate nini 200,000.
Moving on, persons with disabilities in Gatondo, North Kiambu County have received special mobility cards aimed at increasing their access and boosting economic activities. The cards were a donation from a non-governmental organization intended to enable PWDs to move with ease while selling their goods in various towns. Immobility has been listed as one of the major challenges facing persons with disabilities in their quest to fend for themselves.
The mobility cards we are giving are actually business premises. They are mobile, they are big. We are also providing them with cool boxes so that they can also start depending on themselves.
Most of the beneficiaries selling water, sodas, even some go to an extent of even modifying the mobility card to a point that it becomes a point of sale.
I would urge the county government, when these people start their small businesses, for them to let them be waived for licenses. Because of course they are with disability.
Wakati umepewa hii mobility inakutoa kwa nyumba, unaenda mahali pako pa biashara, unaketi chini unafanya biashara mchana mzima, jioni ikifika unafunga kazi, unarudi nyumbani.
121 pints of blood were collected following a blood donation drive held in Nairobi as Kenya seeks to build its blood bank. The initiative by the Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority, the Kenya Red Cross Society, and an electronic appliances company was aimed at addressing the country's blood shortage as well as creating awareness on the importance of donating blood. The collection of safe and compatible blood will address the immediate and urgent shortages experienced in healthcare facilities and hospitals amid calls for Kenyans to develop a culture of donating blood.
In Kenya, every 7 minutes, there must be a donation going on in an hospital. And we actually need more than 500,000 units of blood in Kenya to sustain our patients in hospitals.
Today, we are here to celebrate the remarkable partnership, one that exemplifies the true spirit of the corporate social responsibility and underscores that the values of community, care, and compassion. I'm happy to announce that today we are in partnership with OPALEC, KTTA, and the Kenya Red Cross, and have come together to address the pressing issue that affect our nation, the shortage of the blood supply. So through this blood donation drive, our goal is to collect at least 300 pins of blood to our brand shop located.
Back at the coast, the Kenya Maritime and Fisheries Institute is piloting a saline water purification technology project that will revolutionize agriculture in arid and semi-arid areas of Kenya. The project, dubbed Seawater Greenhouse Technology and Lithium Mining from Salt Works, is being piloted at the Kazuhoni area of Magarini Sub-County, Kilifi County.
Jua ni kali na pia kuna upepo. Katika huu mradi ambao tunaoita kwa Kiingereza unaitwa seawater greenhouse, ni unahusu kuweza kuyasafisha yale maji ambao ni ya chumvi, kuyafanya baridi, na wakati yamefanyika baridi yanaweza kutumika kwa ajili ya ukulima ya horticulture.
Kwanza kabisa ulipoanza huu mradi, wakaji wa Kazuhoni walikuwa wananufaika, wanapata makazi. Halafu mimi mwenye shamba pia nami, shamba linapokuwa huu mradi ukiwa umekamilika, mimi pia nitanufaika na jamii pia nao watanufaika.
Elsewhere, former First Lady Margaret Kenyatta officially launched the 55th annual Round Square International Conference in Nairobi County. The conference attracted 1,200 student delegates aged between 16 and 18 years and teachers from 50 countries across 6 continents. Speaking during the ceremony, the former First Lady underscored the importance of learning through participation in community service, exchange programs and projects. Among the delegates were Round Square Chairman and CEO Colt Han, World Marathon Champion and UN Peace Ambassador Tegra Lolupe, long-distance runner Henry Wanyoike, among others.
I personally believe that there's a lot we can learn from you, a lot we can do as parents, teachers, mentors, and educators to direct your passions and support your interests. We need to empower you to become catalysts of change. All Saints College.
For this next story, we cross over to Turkana County, where in the next 3 days we'll be hosting the Turkana Cultural Festival, and our crew, including JJ Kioria, who is on standby, have been keeping tabs with the last-minute preparations. Good afternoon, JJ Kioria. Kindly bring us up to speed with what is happening, especially at the Ekales Cultural Center.
Thank you, Ben Troy. We're live from the crowd-tented camp in Lodwar. This will be the venue that will host delegates of the Ateker community, of course, as they gather for the Turkana Cultural and Tourism Festival. And, of course, the officiating guest is President William Ruto. Like we told our viewers last night, we talked about delegations from South Sudan or neighboring, not just, the neighboring community, but the Ateker community in South Sudan, the Ateker community in Uganda, and the Ateker community in Ethiopia will be trooping to the Turkana Cultural and Tourism Festival, and they will be hosted here at the Cradle Tented Camp, because this is where some of the resolutions that will be read out at the meeting of, or rather during the festival, will actually be reached here. And in most cases, what has happened is that these resolutions have been given to the officiating guest. It could be the president, could be the deputy president, but in this case, it will be the president because he is the chief guest at this event. So at the Cradle Tented Camp, what you see are preparations in top gear ahead of the event. And you can see workers at the camp really busy, putting final touches to this venue where this meeting will happen. And in most cases, you get a situation where these delegations are merged. You could have the Ethiopia, Uganda delegation in one side. You could have the Kenya, South Sudan on the other side. And the resolutions met then will be discussed, or rather will be read out during the festival. And that is what what will happen here at the Crado Tented Camp, where this community is on the northwest part of Kenya. Of course, they neighbor Turkana County on this upper side, and they'll all congregate here, not only to get to see or to showcase their culture, but indeed also as an opportunity for Turkana County to showcase its resources and what it is made of. You remember that Lokichar is in Turkana County, is one of the areas that have been mapped out as an oil field for the Republic of Kenya, if you would say so, and that is not the only resource that the Turkana County has. The event officially kicks off on Thursday. The chief guest is President William Ruto and his host, Governor Murkai Napotekan, who is the governor of Turkana County. And of course, you will expect to see other visitors from not only outside the country, but of course also Kenyans who will come and witness the culture of the Turkana community that will be showcased from tomorrow, Wednesday. But of course, the official start of the event is Thursday at the Crado Tented Camp. The preparations are in top gear to host the delegations from the 3 countries, or just across the border with Turkana County for that resolution before, of course, that heads out to the field for a readout or declaration before the president. Hand you back to studio, Bentra Njue.
Thank you very much, my colleague JJ Kyoria, live from the Ekales Cultural Center, which will be playing host to that event that will be attracting about 7,000 delegates. And the head of state, together with the Turkana governor, are also expected to be at that event. We'll be coming a bit later in our subsequent bulletin with the last-minute brushing and dusting of that event. But we shift gears to sports now, where Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba has challenged the Kenya Lionesses to secure a slot at the Paris Olympic Games next year. This is after boosting their morale by pumping 200% increment in their allowances. The increment comes just before the Lionesses travel to Tunisia for this weekend's 2023 Rugby Africa Women's Sevens Tournament, which serves as the Paris Olympic Games qualifier.
Women rugby is big time, and we fully support women rugby in Kenya. And number 2, our rugby must get back to the global high table. We want our rugby back. I revised allowances for all teams wearing our national flag. I was disappointed to note that you would receive 1,000 shillings for in-camp training at home, and $60 for in-competition allowances while you are away from home. I have since revised those rates to 3,000 shillings while you are here at home per day. And for your in-competition allowance, I also revised that from $60 a day to $200 a day. Our number 1 export to the world, our premium heritage as a country, is our sporting pedigree. The world knows Kenya from sporting than from anything else. So as we celebrate Utamaduni Day, we also celebrate our sportsmen and women.
It's a big boost for the sporting world. Elsewhere, former Nyanza FKF National Executive Committee member Tom Alila has hailed the government and Football Kenya Federation for the successful 2027 Africa Cup of Nations Pamoja bid, saying it will open more opportunities for Kenya as a major sports destination. Yesterday, Kenya was also named host of CHAN 2024.
Tom Alila has hailed the government and Football Kenya Federation for securing the hosting rights of the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations. Alila has called on Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba to form a vibrant local organizing committee which will ensure the country reaps big from the tournament's revenue.
With ticket sales going for $5 to $7, you need to reap like $24 million as sales. And also you need to look at what CAF means. Lots of business opportunity.
At the same time, the former football administrator, who is also vying for FKF presidency in next year's election, asked the sports ministry to support Harambee Stars in preparing for the 2027 AFCON tournament.
We are looking at forming a team, a winning team that is going to deliver football in this country. It's now not individualistic. So we are looking at a good team that we can work with so that we can deliver football.
Kenya will host the Continental Football Showpiece alongside neighbors Uganda and Tanzania. On Monday, Kenya was also named host of CHAN 2024. For Lunchtime News, I'm Fred Njogu.
In further afield, Arsenal forward Bukayo Saka has been ruled out of the England squad for their international matches this month. Meanwhile, UK and Ireland's bid to host the Euro 2028 is set to be approved by UEFA today.
For Walker into Bukayo Saka.
Arsenal forward Bukayo Saka joint bid with Italy for Euro 2030.